Hey everyone, I thought I would do a short introduction for this small clip I'm going to show. I got this thing a while ago. I thought I would do a short introduction for this small clip I'm going to show. I got this thing a while ago. I thought I would do a short and I'm hearing an echo, so I'm going to leave the studio and go back in. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm just going to show you the clip. Hopefully you like it. Some of you may have already seen it. If you have, I hope you'll enjoy it again. I'll be back shortly. I can't tell you how amused I am with that short. Cowbell. That's right, Brain Bug. Went heavy on the cowbell with that. Business. Let's get right into business. Never again. Andy, did you see the New Yorker's video taken by a reporter? I got this thing in my throat. Wait a second here. I did not see the video taken by the reporter. Actually, there was a story that popped up on the internet on my Twitter feed a little while ago. I didn't have time to really do clips, so I'm going to have to read it basically in like a minute or two after I cough inappropriately again. Yes, this is the miracle of a live show right here. Andy's coughing up a lung. Nope, I'm okay. Neil the 604 Atheist, just in time to hear me cough. Job well done. Job well done. So for those of you who haven't seen the video that I just played, I'm going to play it at the end of the show. I'm proud of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not unhappy about it. Massive cowbell. That's all I can tell. I did tease it a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday. So I'm going to show this short, funny video at the end of the show too. Never Again says it was released on the 17th, and there was a lot going on that day. It's a weird perspective. All right. I'll try to hunt it down. Where's your wrench? I don't know where your wrench is. All right. You're going to be wrenched right now. I don't know, man. That sounds kind of body right there. There. You got your wrench. You got your wrench there, Mr. Neil, the 604 Atheist. So you stole it, says Brain Bug. All right, everyone. For those of you just tuning in, I did a new short that I filmed yesterday with the help of my girlfriend and my kid. I think it's epic. I might be biased because it is my video. I'm going to play it at the end of the show. And so let's go on. Let's go on to the question. We're going to go on to the question. Let's see. Let's say, hypothetically, you are going to become president of the United States. Yes, even you, Neil, 604 Atheist, you Canadian. And in fact, maybe we should just have a rule that Canadians are now in charge of the U.S. government. I don't think that would be bad, but I digress. Let's say that you got to become president of the United States and you had to put your hand on a book to do the swearing in. What book would you pick? Of course, people pick the Bible, right? The chief the chief myth of our society here. Neil. Weed for everyone. That would be the thing, right? That would be the thing. Wrenches for everyone. I like this. I like the anarchism, to tell you the truth, Doctor. I do like the anarchism there. So what would be the book that you would swear in on? Never Again. Dictionary. All right. Very informative, right? Building up vocabulary. So I've shown this book before. I cannot tell you what an impression it made on me when I was like maybe 12 years old. Yeah, I'm that old. Everyone knows that. There's no surprise here. I would swear on my original hardcover copy of Carl Sagan's Cosmos. This is what I would put my right hand. Is it the left hand? I would say it's probably my right hand because we're very rightist kind of society, aren't we? But if I had to choose a book to swear in on, if I ever became president, I would choose Cosmos right there. You know, I learned so much book. I've learned so much from this book when I was a kid, which I still use. Neil for president. That's right, Dr. Mordecai. So that's what I would choose. Now, this was not a creative question on my part. I was on Twitter yesterday and I saw Brian Dunning. I think he does Skeptoid. Post this and I thought, wow, that's a really good question. And in fact, if you guys have questions that you want for the show to ask, you can always email me, text me, passenger pigeon, whatever you want. You can just send it to me and we'll see if we can do that. So, hey, did you hear Trump is no longer president? Did you hear that? I heard that. It's pretty good news. Even though he is still screwing things up for us. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to start in on the news right now because we got some interesting stories. We got some interesting stories about what happens when a cult fails epically. We got stories about Fox News, a Fox News broadcaster singing the praises of Joe Biden on Fox News, right? And of course, you recommend Skeptoid? Yeah. And we got a bunch of stories to cover, and also a couple of things that make me feel good. There are two bits that I want to share about. But let's go to memes. Before we get into crazy QAnon stuff, before we start talking about the news proper. What do we got today? Well, there's going to be a lot of memes. I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be some stories here. There's going to be some laughs. This one by Trevor Noah. I still want to call him the new host of The Daily Show, but I know he's been hosting The Daily Show for a long time. I'm aware of that. All right, I'm aware. All right, first I'm going to get rid of this stupid banner. There we go. Joe Biden has been president for 9 hours and 400,000 Americans are dead. This is obviously Trevor Noah from The Daily Show having fun, poking fun at Sean Hannity and how Hannity loves to spin the news. Sean Hannity loves to spin the news, and this is, maybe it's the obvious joke, sure. But I like obvious jokes. I laugh. I laughed when I saw that. I thought it was pretty hilarious. Oh, Tobin, you would swear on the founding myth. I have not read it. I have heard good things about it. I have heard good things. All right. Let's go to the next bit of funny. You want to go to the next bit of funny? I know I want to go to the next bit of funny. Old school. Right here. There. Lie quiet now. You just had a bad dream. And here you have prominent Democrats consoling Lady Liberty, Dorothy. She was a strange land for the last 4 years. Some would say a fascist land, but now rest easy. The adults are back in the room. You are safe. Relatively, kind of, sort of. At least you aren't in the same amount of danger that you were in under the Trump administration, right? I think we can all agree with that. In a safer space, not an ideal space. The country is not in an ideal space, but it's better than where we were for the last 4 years. That's what it was. All right. I have to do this. Some of you might be sick and tired of this, right? Because this image blew up on Twitter, on social media last night. It's near and dear to my heart. Speaking as a New Englander, I can sympathize with this particular image and the memes that came after it. Who is it? Who is it? Bernie Sanders. Not caring. Not caring. He is just there with big mitten energy, doing his social distancing, wearing his I have a message for you, please give me money jacket. I saw this and I thought, oh, wow. If this isn't just true, if this isn't Bernie Sanders at the inauguration yesterday doing his best Larry David impersonation, I don't know what is. It's hilarious, and people automatically took to it and made all kinds of hilarious memes. I thought this was clever. This little bit right here. Bernie dressed like the inauguration is on his to-do list today, but it ain't his all day. It isn't it, right? And what I like about this meme is that it strikes me that Bernie Sanders, he's going to do his taxes at the inauguration. He's got his big manila envelope. Maybe he's going to do some bills. Maybe he's going to keep himself busy. And I've seen other people comment. It's like, this could have been done on a Zoom meeting. There could have been an email for this meeting. I'm here. Yes. I'm not going to be dressed up. I'm not going to put on my long overcoat and be cold. I'm going to wear my proper winter gear. Job well done, Bernie Sanders. Job well done. And if there is a Bernie, of course there's a Bernie Sanders brand, right? This is the perfect picture of the Bernie Sanders brand right there. Big mitten energy right there. And of course, there's a story behind the mittens too. There's a story behind the mittens. Oh yeah, brain bug. I feel you, Bernie. Was not feeling all that prayer and platitudes yesterday. Oh, my eyes were burning. I was actually on Dave's channel, Critical Cripples channel, from about 11 to 11:45 yesterday. And the prayers, man, I could not stay silent about the prayers. They just bugged the F out of me. All the prayers, like brain effing my ears with prayers. Not necessary. Not necessary. And the thing is, all those, if you're trying to bring in the Trump supporters with the prayers there in the nation's capital on Inauguration Day, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. The prayers are somehow superfluous. Somehow. Oh, man. Says, I feel like I would be friends with Bernie if he wasn't a famous author. Yeah, definitely. Very likable guy. Phil Lister, how you doing? Good to see you here. So there's a story behind the mittens. There's a story, a Vermont story, no less. Let's check it out. Bernie's mittens are made by Jen Ellis, a teacher from Essex Junction, Vermont. She gave them to him over 2 years ago and was surprised when he began wearing them on the campaign trail. They are made from repurposed wool sweaters and lined with fleece made from recycled plastic bottles. Good job, Bernie Sanders. Wearing your recycled plastic bottles and wool sweaters mittens. And I have to, let's see what's going on in the chat. No, Arndt said, I hated the prayers, but I think they might have been necessary to placate some Republicans. Maybe. Oh, brain bug. Yeah. Not a Catholic prayer. Evangelicals are pretty confident that the Catholics are devil worshippers. I grew up Baptist. I didn't grow up Southern Baptist, but there was definitely a message within the Baptist zeitgeist there at my church. The Catholics, probably not Christians. I mean, they pray to Mary. They pray to saints, not to Jesus. Yeah. Neil the 604 atheist. Very bold, sir. Very bold. F them. F for the prayers. All right, so let's see. Do I have anything else like exceptionally funny? I think we're going to have to go into actual news. I'm checking. Did you know that I have a set list? You'll see that some comedians. So I'll see that messed up my whole green screen scene. I'm not going to do that again. I have a set list so that I know what story comes next. So what's the next story? The no plan story. Plan story. I just saw this story on CNN. I didn't have time to prepare for it, so I'm just going to read it to you, everyone. I'm going to read it to you because this is legit breaking news. It's on CNN Politics. The name of the story is Biden inheriting non-existent coronavirus vaccine distribution plan and must, quote, start from scratch, sources say. So there's no vaccine distribution plan on the federal level. That's the news. That's the big story right there. This is just breaking. I'm wondering when there's the no plan is going to start trending on Twitter. Maybe it already has. I don't know. Let me just read a bit. And this isn't going to surprise any of us. Like I said, the story just came out. I didn't have time to make slides or to do screenshots, so I'm just going to read a bit of it here. Let's see. But in the immediate hours following Biden being sworn into office on Wednesday, sources with direct knowledge of the new administration's COVID-related work told CNN one of the biggest shocks that the Biden team had to digest during the transition period was what they saw as a complete lack of a vaccine distribution strategy under former President Donald Trump, even weeks after multiple vaccines were approved for use in the United States. Quote, there is nothing for us to rework. We are just going to have to build everything from scratch, one source said. Another source described the moment that became clear that the Biden administration would have to essentially start from square one because there simply was no plan as, quote, wow. Just further affirmation of complete incompetence. Just further affirmation. Once again, if you're just tuning in, you're probably not going to be surprised at this, but the Biden administration is inheriting several things from the Trump administration. And one of them is that they don't have a plan for vaccine distribution. The Trump people had no plan for vaccine distribution. And now the Biden administration gets to try to play catch up, try to come up with a plan, considering that Biden wants to inoculate 100 million people. I believe that's the number within the first 100 days. Yes, they want to give out 100 million vaccine shots within 100 days. And they have to develop a plan from scratch because the Trump administration had none. Andy has PTSD. It's an interesting question whether or not I probably have a scotch, just a little bit. It's gotten better over time. I have to tell you, it's gotten a little bit better over time. Not full-blown PTSD, but I run hot. Negative God says, just like the prayers, but when Democrats use religion, Republicans think in their minds, well, they're doing it wrong. Oh, yeah, definitely. Aunt says, I want Biden to look for Trump's healthcare plan and find it some weird place, like between the couch cushions. Aunt, that sounds like a great idea for my blog, for a blog post that Biden finds the healthcare plan for Trump. I might use that if you don't mind. I might just use that tomorrow on tomorrow's blog post on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief on Patheos. Once again, all the stories we're going to be talking, not this story. All right. I don't have a link to this story in the description because I just realized that this was a story about how the Biden administration has to create a vaccine distribution plan from scratch. All the other stories, though, we have links to, or I have links to most of the stories. I might have missed one or two. Brainbug, well said, sir. I imagine this is going to be one of the many revelations from behind the scenes of the Trump administration. It could be its own reality show. There could just be a film crew following interns, aides, officials going, What's the healthcare plan doing in the couch cushions? That's what it could be. That's what it could be. All right. Absolutely, I'll credit you if you have a blog, YouTube account, Twitter account you want me to tag you on when I do the post tomorrow. I'd be happy to. Just send me an email, message, whatever. You know how to contact me probably. If anyone wants to contact me, they can send all the hate mail to my email address that you can find on the About section on the YouTube page. All right. Let's take a look. So that's the first story. What's the second story? Oh, hey, a little bit of happiness here. A little bit of joy heading towards our favorite senator. Here's our favorite. I mean, there's so many crappy senators. But the Lincoln Project is focusing on one particular Republican senator that they dislike. And it looks like they're going to be focusing in on this particular senator. Forget Trump. The Lincoln Project is now targeting Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Following the insurrection of the U.S. Capitol, co-founder Rick Wilson says the Republican is a member of the Sedition Caucus. Fascist caucus, Sedition Caucus, you say potato. I say get him out of office. Ted Cruz, horrible man, horrible spineless person. He talks tough, but he wants to be the alpha, but he is so not. He is so not. Let's look at the story. Let's look at the story about how the Lincoln Project is going to be targeting Senator Ted Cruz. The Lincoln Project is well known for its attacks on President Trump. But after the insurrection of the U.S. Capitol, the group has turned its attention to another well-known politician, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. We all know Ted Cruz is sort of a political force in nature. He is what he is. You either hate him or you hate him. Rick Wilson said in Y'all Politics. And he is a guy who went so far over the edge, not just to appease Donald Trump in Trump's base, but because he felt like Josh Hawley, the fascist from Michigan, the fascist from Missouri, had gotten out ahead of him. And of course, Rick Wilson is the co-founder of the Lincoln Project. But the story continues. Let's go on. If Trump is the group's public enemy number one, consider Cruz their public enemy number two. Wilson said the Republican is a member of the Sedition Caucus. We saw that action as something that was overly seditious. It was overtly part of an insurrection seeking to overturn a free and fair election, he said. And for as much as everyone sort of cordially hates Ted Cruz, this is also about the fact there is a caucus of these guys right now. Yes, everyone cordially hates Ted Cruz. I imagine his fans, some of his fans cordially hates Ted Cruz because he is scum. Wilson said he thinks the divide will eventually lead to a permanent split. The Republican Party may split into twain. I think there's a third party that will come out of the schism inside the GOP, and I'll be very blunt with you. I don't think it'll be the largest of the two factions. I think the traditional Republican economic, social, and fiscal conservatism is basically dead. So basically Reaganomics, well, not Reaganomics, but Reagan style of the Republican Party, the co-founder of the Lincoln Party, of the Lincoln Project, thinks is dead. Probably true. Probably true. I'm mostly upset about Holly using the word irregardless. Well, if there's a sign of the apocalypse, irregardless is now officially part of the dictionary. It's now officially part of the dictionary. I don't want to be, I try to keep the show funny and light, but yeah, this is probably the dark. It's dark. It's irregardless is now a word. So that's Lincoln Project. Focusing on Ted Cruz, I have a video. I teased this at the beginning of the show. This is a Fox News broadcaster singing the praises of Joe Biden. singing the praises of Joe Biden on Fox News. Check it out.
I thought it was a great speech. I've been listening to these inaugural addresses since 1961. John F. Kennedy, Ask Not. I thought this was the best inaugural address I ever heard. Obviously, a lot of this event today, a lot of the president's speech was colored by the emotion of the fact that exactly 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago, there was a mob of thugs, of insurrectionists, of domestic terrorists on the inaugural stand, and Joe Biden was saying that democracy prevailed. We were able to get through that, and he was talking about how we need to get through that in the future if we are going to be a united country. He talked about white supremacy, domestic terrorism. He said we must confront it. We will defeat it. My whole soul is in this, uniting our people. You know, I think it was less an inaugural address and more part sermon, part pep talk, talking directly to the American people, saying, hear me out. We have a right to dissent peacefully, but our disagreement must not lead to disunion. It was a call to our better angels, a call saying, look, we've got tremendous challenges, COVID, the economy, racial injustice, climate change, but there's nothing we can't do if we come together. And there's one other thing he said that I think especially us in the media must know. He said that there is truth and there are lies that are told for power and lies that are told for profit. And I think that it was a call to all of us, whether it's us on the air, on cable or broadcast, whether it's us on social media, on our Twitter accounts, understanding that we have to deal from facts, from the truth, to hear each other out, as he said, a right to disagree, but not a right to violence. This is the easy part, as has been suggested. Now he's got to turn words, rhetoric into reality and action, but I thought it was a great start.
Who would have thought that there would be someone on Fox News saying that there is truth and there are lies, and actually mean it, Chris Wallace saying this radical stuff for Fox News, that there is something called truth and there are something called lies on Fox News, no less. It's a world turned upside down. That's what it is. It's the world turned upside down. All right. It says, when he said we must end the Civil War, I felt like when your dad says, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And James Henry, spot on, James Henry. Chris Wallace is the only journalist at Fox with integrity. Yeah, Chris Wallace isn't a saint, but if there was a sliding scale for Fox News, then he might be a saint for Fox News, because there's so much trash on Fox News. KCA Randy, I see you in the chat. How you doing? So Chris Wallace dropped saying that the Biden speech was the best one that he's heard, the best inauguration speech. Maybe catching up on 1 point. Oh, Slade. Slade Camara. Good to see you here. And you're right, Casey and Randy. Chris Wallace showing some integrity, right? Good for Chris Wallace. Saying on Fox News that there is truth and there are lies, and the lies are told to manipulate people. Well done. Well done, Chris Wallace, especially on Fox News. How long is he? Yeah, he's the only legitimate news person there. I don't even know. I see what the girlfriend. Come on, Slade Camara. Andy's already on 1.75 speed. Maybe I am already on 1.75 speed. Maybe I am. So Chris Wallace, job well done for speaking truth, and maybe a little fanboying. Was Chris Wallace actually fanboying on Joe Biden? I think he was. I liked the speech. I loved the show. I mean, I saw bits of the highlights of the show. Bruce Springsteen playing in the inauguration show after the entire thing was over. You know, Tom Hanks was emceeing. You know, oh yeah, well said, KCA Randy. Yeah, Shepard Smith left Fox over the same thing. That's right. That's right. You know, Shepard Smith could only handle so much. And I don't know where he is now. I know he's still working for one of the major cable news channels. I'm not sure which one off the top of my head. So yeah, the inauguration party with Bruce Springsteen singing in front of the Lincoln Memorial last night. Pure magic. Bon Jovi doing a rendition of Here Comes the Sun. Nice, respectable, and of course, you know, my favorite. You know, okay. I really like the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, right? Times Like These. I can hear that song a million times. KCA Randy says Shepard is working over CNBC. That might, you know, that makes sense because I'm usually, when I'm doing cable news, it's typically CNN. Sometimes I'll take a trip over to MSNBC. That's part, but I don't. And if I listen to business news, which I do every once in a while, I'll go over to Bloomberg Surveillance in the morning before I come on the show. Actually, I'll pop on Bloomberg Surveillance because they do intelligent commentary on that radio show with a centrist, left of center point of view. All right, so what have we gone over so far? Donald J. Trump, no plan for vaccine distribution within the United States of America. Lincoln Project are targeting Ted Cruz because he's part of the sedition caucus. Excellent. And of course, Chris Wallace dropping truth bombs on Fox News, live on the air. Pure magic there. All right. What do you do with a failed cult? What do you do when you're a member of a failed cult? You know, there have been many cults in history that have made predictions like the world is going to end in 2012 or Jesus, we're all rapturing. You know, you probably, most of us remember, at least there's been a few rapture demics. Like if there was like an epidemic, there would be like an epidemic in rapture. The idea that there'd be like a huge rapture. I remember seeing signs, you know, posters stapled on telephone poles about the rapture. I think that was supposed to happen in 2009. And of course, which didn't happen because it's all just fairy tales. Christianity is just crappy, toxic fairy tales. And QAnon, which is somewhat, you know, meshed in with the most craziest conspiratorial thinking version of Christianity, they made a prediction. They made a whole bunch of predictions. And guess what? We all know it didn't happen. Donald Trump is still not president. Donald Trump never did mass arrests of pedophiles. There's never this great there's never a mass arrestation. I'm going to go with arrestation. There were no mass arrests of Democrats. So Q is a failed cult along with Christianity, making predictions because we all know this from the Bible, right? Jesus is telling people, you know, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do my epic pose. I will return from the dead. And some of you who are alive hearing me talk right now, you'll still be alive. So, right? So that's 2,000-ish years ago, if you believe Jesus was a real person, and then if you believe he actually said those words. So Christianity is a failed cult. QAnon is a failed cult. And now there are issues. There are issues. We all got played. QAnon followers implode after big moment never comes. This is from Forbes, an article in Forbes. We all got played. QAnon followers implode. Mwah, mwah. After big moment never comes. How sad. How sad. So what do you do with a cult that fails, with a cult that fails, with a cult that fails? Let's find out the story. Top line, as Joe Biden was sworn in as president, QAnon followers finally saw their hope for the storm when Donald Trump would bring down the deep state and expose a far-reaching child sex trafficking ring disappear, leaving followers of the unhinged conspiracy theory in despair, searching for answers, while one of the most prominent adherents, he just gave up. Bluntly, one of the main adherents of Q, maybe the creator of Q, maybe the person who is Q, just gave up and told people to go home. Really? QAnon. Let's take a deeper look. QAnon adherents appeared to have fractured into two groups on popular far-right message boards Wednesday, with some realizing their crackpot conspiracy theory was a fraud, while others tried to somehow keep the flame of the crazy candle alive. I don't know what scent the crazy candle is. Is it dumpster fire? Is it the same scent that Gwyneth Paltrow candle that exploded in London, supposedly? There was a Gwyneth Paltrow candle that exploded, supposedly, in London. It smelled like her feminine parts. That's what I've heard. Ron Watkins, the founder of 8chan, who is one of several people suspected of being the anonymous poster Q, who spawned the conspiracy theory, conceded shortly after Biden was sworn in, telling his supporters it was time for believers to keep their chins up and go back to our lives. That's what happened. Their cult leader, the man behind the curtain, the man probably behind Q, basically said, hey, chins up and go back to our lives. So yeah, the prophecy didn't come true, and probably the leader, the person who orchestrated the entire lie of QAnon, just said, hey, chins up, go home, continue on with your lives. In brackets, you've been played. You've just been played. Other QAnoners sought to move the goalposts. Atheists understand this. Atheists, if you've seen any online debates with Christians, if you've seen failed prophecies, there's a moving of goalposts. It's like, well, that's not what Jesus really said. Jesus really didn't mean that there's going to be someone alive when he came back from the time that he, like 2,000 years ago. That's not what he meant. What he really meant was, and insert some kind of dribble. Others sought to move goalposts, picking out passages from Trump's speech and Eric Trump's farewell post on Twitter as signs of hope. So they were cherry picking. They were cherry picking bits from Trump's speech and from Eric Trump's Twitter post. Let me tell you something. If you're trying to find wisdom, Eric Trump is not that dude. He is not that person you want to go to. Oh, well, how do you know what you know? Well, I cherry picked some verses from Eric Trump's tweets. Okay. All right. I got to control myself here. By midday, a new spin to the conspiracy theory gripped the far-right message boards. Biden was their savior all along. Biden was their savior all along. A twist multiple QAnon influences threw their support behind. Biden is Q, a post on the Donald.win read, while others brushed aside that theory and urged believers to stick with Trump. Will there be conflict? I guess there is now a civil war within QAnon too, as there is some kind of civil war going on within the Republican Party. And I, for one, I am happy that basically these factions of madness are now pit against each other. So they have less time and energy to focus against civilization. They have less time and energy to focus on undermining the Republic. to tell you the truth, of undermining rights, of undermining LGBTQ rights. I'm happy about that. Let the QAnon people fight amongst themselves. Let the Republicans fight amongst themselves. The longer they fight, the better. The longer they fight each other, the better. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Eric Trump, right, David Paul? Intelligent, looking for wisdom, from a tweet from Eric Trump well, these are QAnon people, right? So they're grasping for straws. And I would imagine that last straw, this tells you how few straws they have left to support their crazy ideology, is that they're going to Eric Trump tweets to try to support their QAnon craziness. David Paul again, spot on. So I was right. They are like mythical orcs. Oh, painful. David Paul, you had an appointment. Good morning. Oh, well, here, James Henry, spot on. What can one expect from people who thought Mexico would pay for the wall? Well, you're right. If they really thought Mexico was going to pay for the wall, it's just a hop, a skip, and a leap of idiocy for them to think that Joe Biden is their Q savior. Joe Biden, a Q savior instead of Donald J. Trump. Tobin, Heaven's Gate cult hands out Kool-Aid that fails to kill and just give belly aches. QAnon, the Q shaman, Anjir says, should be their official leader. I think he's still in jail right now. Maybe he's out on bail. He might be out on bail. I'm not sure. But he's crazy enough. He's crazy enough to be, to be at least a good figurehead for QAnon, or to be a figurehead for Donald J. Trump's new or hypothesized patriot party that he wants to create, or that he says he wants to create. Oh, yeah. So once again, QAnon people, they're in some kind of mishmash about the fact that their prophecy, the surge, the storm, that's what they call it, the storm, never occurred. And now some of them are thinking they've been split. They're splitters. They've been splitting into the Joe Biden is really Q. And others who are like, no, you still got to have faith with Donald J. Trump. You got to have faith in that guy. Yes, Brainbug. The QAnon shaman does walk around. He lives with his mom. The QAnon shaman lives with his mom. He is a failed actor, I believe. And I'm not going to cast aspersions. If you're doing anything in the arts, it's a tough road to go anyway. But it seems that he lives with his mom, and he walks around with the horns and the fur, I guess, or the skin. And he just walks around town like that. He just walks around his community. Oh, who's that? Well, he's just going to go, that's the Buffalo guy. He's the bison guy. He's just going down to get a Coke at the store. This is how he just walks around the neighborhood. Maybe he mows his lawn like that. I don't know. So how are we doing? All right, we're doing good. Everyone. I hope everyone's. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being engaged. Always love talking to you guys in the chat. Now, what else do we have here? Do we have any more fun? We do. I want to talk about what makes me feel good. I'm going to start with the last first. I discovered this photograph, and I thought I'd have to share it about things that make me feel good. And that's all I'm going to say about it before. And here it is, because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin this. Andrew Jackson is gone. And Benjamin Franklin is in the Oval Office. Andrew Jackson was commander-in-chief of genocide during his presidency, as anyone who knows anything about the Trail of Tears, right? Andrew Jackson was a guy who told the Supreme Court, who told SCOTUS to go F itself, and that they don't have an army, so I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to do the Trail of Tears. I'm going to do ethnic cleansing in Georgia and force Native peoples out to Oklahoma. As soon as any intelligent person saw Andrew Jackson hanging in the Oval Office and President Trump saying, yes, I have a hard-on for Andrew Jackson, you knew what kind of president he was going to be. He was going to be a guy who was going to break the law, that didn't care about the other branches of government. And now we have someone who at least is better than Andrew Jackson by far, Ben Franklin, right? I'll take Ben Franklin over Andy Jackson any day of the week. So there we go. So I feel good about that. I feel good about Ben Franklin going into the Oval Office and Andy Jackson leaving. But there's one more story which I thought I wanted to share too. It's just something that made me feel good. And it just goes to show you that America, you know, yeah, there's a lot of stupid here. There's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of stupidity. But there are other countries, other nations that are also, you know, wanting to fight us for the title of stupid. And I thought I just had to share this because I found it hilarious. A state in India renames dragon fruit because it sounds too Chinese. Innovative response to Chinese land encroachment. Politicians and Twitter users take a dig at this state in India. I'm going to butcher the name with my Boston accent. Gujarat. So they are renaming dragon fruit to something a little bit more native to the subcontinent. It's like renaming French fries to freedom fries whenever Republicans have a beef with France. They turn French fries into freedom fries. I don't know if you remember that from the first Gulf War, maybe the second Gulf War. That's what it was, the second Gulf War. And of course, during the First World War, German cabbage was renamed Liberty cabbage too, or maybe it was freedom cabbage. But I know that there's always this kind of culinary fight over what's considered to be ethnic words, dangerous words by right-wingers, whether it's in this country or in other countries. So yeah, this Indian state renames dragon fruit because it sounds a bit too Chinese. Oh, thank you, Anjir. I'm glad. You know, I know, right there in the chat, know stuff about how to pronounce words. Like the ooh in Tuk. All right. Very good. Yes, James Henry, Modi, the Indian premier, is a Hindu fascist. He is. You talk to a lot of people from the subcontinent, and they have stories. They have stories about Modi and Hindu nationalism. As Christian fascism is a problem here in the United States of America, Hindu nationalism, Hindu faith-based fascism is a problem there too. And considering it's the world's largest democracy, considering they're in a very delicate position between, with China right there on the border and sharing a border with Pakistan, it's, oh, hey, Brainbug, you find my Boston accent endearing. Oh, so when I get an idea. Yeah, indeed. I like the ideas. But yeah, so you should all feel good. We should feel good about ourselves because, once again, Donald Trump is no longer president. And two, we're not renaming fruit over foreign enemies like this particular state in India. And nationalism is a global epidemic. You're right. I'm hoping, I am hoping that with the Biden administration, that at least there'll be none of this America First nonsense. Of course, America works in its own interest, just like everyone else does. But America First was this toxic idea about us just doing this transactional relationship with allies, with people who like us and people who wanting to work with us. And of course, America First is also fascism. It's a bell. It's a cowbell for fascism here in the United States. No, it's a dog whistle for fascism. Though I like cowbell. Maybe I'll just call it a cowbell for fascism. So nationalism, hopefully it's going to be at least rescinding a little bit with Joe Biden in office. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not going to pray about it because I don't do that stuff, because prayers don't help. They don't help at all. Everyone, what are we doing tomorrow? I don't know. We're going to be, and you know what? You're completely right about this. Ben Franklin versus Andy Jackson. At least Ben Franklin contributed more to our society than Andrew Jackson. True enough. True enough. America no longer has the distinction of having the world's dumbest president. You know, there is actually a list of people. The Brazilian fellow there, he is a savage anti-vaxxer. Modi. Don't know if Modi is dumb or just evil. Not sure. But the guy in Brazil seems to be off the chain, basically, in terms of his policies, in terms of him telling people that that there is no such thing as COVID-19. Maybe I'll talk about him in the future. Fox News has to go. Yeah. You know, Lee, I have to tell you something. I've always said at the very least, there should be some kind of disclosure at the beginning of every single subject, every single segment. As soon as you go to commercial, there should be a disclosure saying Fox News, not real news. Well, at least with people like Tucker Carlson or The Five or any of these other hacks that they have, Sean Hannity, there should be something prominently displayed, kind of like a cigarette box about this crap will kill you. There should be something on Fox News right there, even during the show. It's like, this is not news. This is opinion, because Americans, our education system has failed us, and that we cannot differentiate. Many of us cannot differentiate between an opinion piece in a news article or an opinion show and a news show. We just can't do that. And so most of us can't. So there should be some kind of disclaimer at the very least. Okay. See, James Henry on time. Bolsonaro. That's the fellow in Brazil. That is nothing but a chocolate. Is a Trumpist. Basically, is at least in the mold of Trump. Vaccine. The telling people for ages that COVID-19 wasn't real. Nothing but trouble, that guy. Well, the girlfriend, I just want to say this. The Five did say on Fox News that they are not real journalists. And, you can say that, we're not real journalists, and then just keep spinning lies and lies and lies. And that's why I think there needs to be some kind of warning label on Fox News, especially during these opinion shows, saying that this is for entertainment use only. Tucker Carlson, his argument in court, for entertainment use only. That's it. It's kind of like the Psychic Friends Network, for entertainment use only. Fox News is the Psychic Friends Network version of cable news, and there should be a law. There ought to be a law to show that. Exactly. The contents of this program are for entertainment purposes only. Okay, I'm going to do. Brainbug made me think of cowbell right there. I like cowbell for when they change the definition of words like socialism, refuse to be corrected. Yeah. You can't trust. You can't trust Fox News, and there should be a disclosure. All right. So I started off the show with our celebrating Trump leaving the White House, with Trump no longer being president of the United States. I shared this video. I'm going to show it again. It's a little 60-second video. I hope it brings a smile to your face. I hope you go to my channel or go to the other video, this video in my channel, and hit the like button. Maybe even share it if you want to. I mean, I don't know. But let's play that video once again. And this is me saying goodbye. But hey, watch the video, especially if you haven't seen it, because it's not unfunny. If you're still here, I'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Bye.